Hello, friends, and welcome to another season of the Coach's Corner on Leominster TV. I'm Todd Robbins, joined as always by Leominster High School head coach Dave Palazzi. We bring you each and every week the preview of the upcoming week's action, breakdowns of the weeks that have gone by, and of course the definitive word on all things Leominster High School football right here on Leominster TV. Back for another season, and Coach, the off-season moves rather quickly, and here we are. I know this is when you get excited. We're around the corner. First week of action up on tap.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're just getting ready. September 9th, our first game. This is Labor Day weekend. We have a scrimmage tomorrow against Tewksbury, so we're going to try to fine-tune some things and really, see where we're at. We're excited. I know the seniors are excited. It's finally here to begin the season, and the Leominster Blue will be ready to go.
As you've set up and kind of worked your way through, camp comes in many phases. You start off beating on one another, then you get an opportunity to kind of beat on a couple of different teams and try to go toe-to-toe with some people, get a kind of feel for where you're at as you've kind of taken an early look at the team and through your blue and white scrimmage, and then on into the scrimmage with Everett with one more to go. How do you feel about this year's squad?
Oh, I love this team. I think they're doing all the right things. I think we've learned a lot. I know our captains got their heads on straight, and they really know what it takes to be a champion. I mean, that's what we always strive for at Leominster, as any program. I mean, you really want to set the tone early on and do all the right things to put you in a position to be there at the end. And I think these captains and these seniors, we met before the season started, and we really put things into perspective from last year and tough loss against St. John's and the Neshoba and things like that. So, they really want to work hard, and they really want to do the right things, and they really, they want the season to begin, and obviously they want to be there at the end. So just one game at a time, but I think our heads are in the right place. Our hearts are where they're supposed to be, and, we're really a team at this point. We just got to go out and play.
Gotta love seeing that family come together. We're going to cycle back, talk a little bit more about the team as they've worked their way through camp, but it wouldn't be the start of a high school football season if we didn't start by bashing the MIAA and start by discussing all of the wonderful things they've done in realigning football as we get set for action. Coach, I'll do the bashing. You can do the political thing. I'm okay with that. We're going to start by taking a look here at what the 2015 composition of Division II Central Mass looked like. And as you can see, that fine collection of 11 teams, 4 of which made it to the playoffs. And of course, Coach, last year we talked about that expanded group, as the battle to get 4 teams in there when Shepherd Hill joined up to become the 11th team in Division II Central Mass in that 6-team combination that we were going to have 6 state champions that were going to reach the end. And now a look at what this year's looks like. And now we have just 6. There's Division II Central Mass in an 8-division setup by the MIAA. So just St. John's, Leominster, Shrewsbury, Algonquin, Wachusett, and Shepherd Hill. And the rest are now in what is known as Division IIA, or we'll call the rest others. Coach, another year, reshuffled everybody. It's a different ball game now. Now 4 out of 6 are going to make the playoffs.
Well, the only thing good with that is what I believe is we play all the teams in our league.
Okay.
So there's no argument that, they're 4th place and we didn't play them and we're 5th place and we're not in the playoffs. So, they're going to find out who the top 4 teams are because you have to play each other. So in that respect, it's good. And, the out-of-league games, the thing that's difficult is scheduling games because, you have all the other divisions and we only play 5 games within our league because there's 6 teams. Now we have to go out and try to find 5 other teams to play us. Well, at the same time, you have other divisions trying to make the playoffs. So, it was kind of difficult for us to find opponents to play. Oakmont stepped up and played us week 2. I mean, we obviously wanted to try to fill our schedule with teams within our league, but just because of the way the playoff system was, it kind of was difficult to do that. So we were able to get, Doherty's not in our league, Oakmont's not in our league, BC High. So you have to go out and try to schedule, with teams around here, but it was more difficult to schedule games, at least for us.
As I looked at some of the alignment changes that came out this year, I thought one of the things that was interesting, and I thought may have helped a little bit was the change in the points system. Now, instead of having basically being penalized for playing a team underneath you, you do no worse than the 10 points you would get if you played a team that was in your division. However, if you do step up and play a team in a division above you, you get 12 points. Did that make it a little easier on both ends? Does that make it a little bit more of an attractive game for a BC High at Brockton? The people that everyone's always clamoring for Leominster to go up against from Eastern Mass, but at that point, the Eastern Mass schools are going, we're losing points to go play a team under previous formats. Now they do no worse than if they were playing another team from their division, and by the same standpoint, of course, by going up a division, you get a shot at maybe grabbing 12 points with a win. And then on the other side of that, a team like Oakmont, who is going to get a shot to come up and get a chance to get maybe 12 points out of that combination, and you will do no worse than the 10 points that you would have gotten if you played a team in your league. So I feel like that helped a little bit and make a difference a little bit in trying to get some attractive games.
Yeah, I didn't really look at it as it helped or made a difference. I just thought it was utter ridiculousness when you're playing. I think you know, teams are playing good teams, Division II, Division I. There's not really much of a disparity there, and even when you're playing, you know, 2A, I mean, it's all real equal. I mean, the only real thing is the number of boys, which I agree with. I mean, they don't have a crop to pick with, and then, you know, you start to get into the lower divisions, so it makes sense. But I think they did it for the argument of, you know, why would we want to play them? We're not going to get as many points, and they're really good this year. So, you know, it really didn't make sense. I think it does help the scheduling, and I think it's, you know, there's fairness there. I think they did the best they could. You know, it's the Thanksgiving games that really hold us back in the state, and we're back to square one again this year, talking about, you know, the crazy playoff system that no one really likes but keeps getting voted for.
Absolutely, and the best of all worlds, or just take whatever they'll give it to you. And I mean, of course, the one I think change that everyone will note is what we've seen in years past with Leominster and Fitchburg, not only having that Thanksgiving matchup, but having a couple of great playoff battles in this new format. Over the last few years, when this format has been in place, that will no longer be a possibility with Fitchburg in Division 2A. Same with Neshoba, who would become a perennial rival of Leominster. And I feel like the Leominster-Neshoba rivalry goes through ebbs and flows. When I was in high school, Neshoba was in the same division as Leominster, and they battled quite a bit against one another. Then for a number of years, they never met. They went in opposite directions in different divisions, back again, and now gone again. They're in different divisions once again. It's too bad, because you see that kind of a rivalry, you know, you hate to see it come and go.
Yeah, you know, it's tough. I mean, high school today, high school athletics, you have school choice, you have kids going all over the place, and you know, it's really tough to get the old school, who do you have coming up, and sustain a great program, people moving in and out of, you know, big cities and things like that. And it's just, you know, it's tough. Some numbers are down for a lot of the schools, so, you know, they really had to realign. I mean, you have to go by the number of boys in your school and the crop you have to choose from. So you know, I have no problem with that. I mean, you know, it's obvious if you want to stay in a league for a number of years, you know, there needs to be fairness. So, I mean, that's the way it is, and we play who we play on our schedule, and that's the way it is, I guess.
And that's the way you'll go, 1 week to week, and that's all we'll talk about here. Quickly, Coach, through those 6 teams, though, that are part of your league and that are going to be on your schedule every single year at this point in time. It's quite a, you know, a crop, a gauntlet, if you will, of teams that have been toward the top of the division each and every year we've gone through this playoff. They bring about some different, you know, types of looks. It's an interesting crop of 6 that have come together to make up this division too.
Yeah, I mean, you have all the biggest schools of boys, obviously. If people out there, they don't understand how they do that, they go by the number of boys you have in your school, and then they put you into the divisions that you go into. And if you want to go up or things, you can ask the MIA to do that. And if you feel that you want to be moved down, you can do that as well. But our division, I mean, it's always the same old story. I mean, you have the great programs: Algonquin, Wachusett, Shepherd Hill, St. John's, Shrewsbury, I think, and you know, there's never an easy week. So it's never easy, and anybody can win each and every week. I think actually with the 6 teams, it's going to be real exciting, because only 4 of those teams make it. So every week, every game is going to be real important, and you know, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great coaching going on, and you're really going to have to prepare week in and week out, and I think the fans will enjoy the games.
Not a question about that. Certainly have had some great football in this MIAA football playoff alignment. Good opportunity here to take a look at the Blue Devils' schedule for 2016, as we've kind of given you a preview of what we are going to see in the weeks to come. Of course, as we mentioned, week 1 coming up here on the road at Doherty, followed up with a week 2 matchup on the road at Oakmont, then at BC High bye, 3 straight road games to open up the season. Then you go to the home slate, 3 straight home games with Wachusett, Algonquin, Shepherd Hill, and then road games, a Saturday at St. John's, and then a Friday night at Shrewsbury to wrap up the 8-week regular season. Coach, as we were just alluding to, again, some great battles to come, and we'll have weekly previews here on the Coach's Corner. But quickly, of course, just touching on Oakmont, an opportunity to match up with a familiar face on the far sideline there, Coach Charlie Raff, his head coaching position, of course, at Oakmont over the last few years. It's got to be exciting, of course, for the two of you. What was that like, getting together and say, hey, yeah, you want to play? Let's play. Let's do this on a Friday night. Yeah,
I mean, they really stepped up. I mean, the way it went down, I think we were scheduled to play Reading or Marshfield, to be honest with you. And you know, our athletic director, I told her to call every Eastern Mass school: Brockton, Everett, St. John's Prep, BC High. We called Marshfield, Reading, all the top teams in the state, and we were ready to play. And for some reason, week 2, they took another game. We got BC High, and then no one could fit into the schedule, and Oakmont could fit in. And Charlie Raff's like, yeah, we'd love to play Leominster. And, you know, we joked, he called me. And, you know, I think it would be great. We were great friends. We've coached together. I mean, I know how he coaches. He knows how I coach. So I'm sure we'll be, you know, ready to rip each other's faces off on that Friday night. But that's just the way it goes, you know. That's what we preach. I mean, as soon as the whistle blows, it's you know, the game on, and then after the game, it's shake hands and you know, move on with business as usual. So, you know, we look forward to it. I'm sure they look forward to it, and it's going to be a great game. I mean, he knows me, I know him, so, you know, that cat and mouse game, we'll see what happens.
Offense meets defense. We'll talk about that in the Week 2 edition of the Coach's Corner to come. Let's talk about the team that we're going to be looking at on the field this year for the Blue Devils. An interesting and a nice balance between returning faces that have had some significant roles in playing time, and then a large crop of fresh faces that we're going to see join the action as you've seen them through camp. We talked a little bit. You like the team that's coming together. What's standing out to you as you start to see the balance of, you know, the old veteran faces and the fresh faces that are mixing together? Yeah, I mean, I think you know, a lot of people, we have a couple of receivers. I don't think we have the number of receivers. Like if you want to run 4 wide, we don't have 6 receivers that you know, have a lot of experience, that played a lot of football. So when people say we don't have as many receivers as we usually do, we have receivers. We just don't have the experience, and more of our experience and more of, I think, our strength, you know, is our linemen and our, you know, our backfield with Gray, Dandini, Kalina, and Price mixing in there too. I mean, those guys have played. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm alluding to. And you know, we may run more than we throw this year. More so, the disparity may be greater than usual, but you know, I'm excited. I think it's smash mouth football. I know Roger Mercy is excited, but you know, he's great, and you know, we really get the offense going. And I think a lot of our young defensive linemen that we had last year, you know, Chris Jackson, Nunez, those guys, Angel Nunez, you know, they're back. So, you know, we have some guys at crucial positions that played a lot of football last year. So, you know, we'll see how it pans out. We have a number of other guys, some seniors that are going to step up for us. Dylan Tanner played, you know, he'll be a tight end, and you know, just some other guys that really worked hard in the summer that I look forward to watching, you know, for them to get their opportunity. In our current format, it's a little hard to get into the X's and O's of it, but obviously you talk about a change from more of a spread-based, take the ball down the field offense to more of a smash mouth game. Is that going to change the overall look on the field? Will the formations change dramatically, or will it still look like we've seen, just maybe the ball is going to run on the ground a little bit more than it's going to go through the air? You know, we do a lot. I mean, we do 4 wide, 5 wide spread. We do I formation, 1 back, 2 backs, gun. I mean, we're kind of a multiple offense, changing as we go. But I don't think you'll see as much spread from us as you have in the past. I mean, that's just my feeling right now. I mean, that could change when I walk out of here in 5 minutes. Yeah. But, you know, I just think we're going to, you know, it's high school football. You don't recruit. I mean, this isn't Alabama. I'm not recruiting who I want. So, you know, I'm not. I'm going to look at who our best players are, where our strengths are, and kind of feed off of that and change on the fly. I mean, you know, if we can't throw the ball 30 times a game, why not, you know, run the ball instead of doing that? So we'll see how it pans out, but that's, you know, and knowing what we have, I mean, that's my gut instinct that you know, we'll be more of a, you know, a power run team than more of a finesse pass team. Let's turn our attention to the senior leader of this squad, and there are a number of them. We'll start first with the one who probably made the most news in the offseason, and that would be Noah Gray, of course, playing the quarterback position in now his senior season. We've watched him develop all the way up with this program from his freshman year now to his senior campaign. And interesting, of course, and widely covered, accepting a scholarship to play at Duke University for football, and perhaps maybe make a move to the tight end position for those that haven't really seen that offseason news. Changes probably a little bit for him in his mind as down the road he's going to change, but he's got one more season at least playing quarterback and being a diverse football player. You've been through this. You went through the point where you were recruited. You went through the point where you accepted an opportunity to play beyond high school. How does that change your last season, your last campaign as you're getting ready? Does it take the pressure off a little bit?
Yeah, and it does and it doesn't, because he, you know, I mean, he's a kid. I mean, he's going to Duke, and he may feel that in games he has to prove his worthiness of getting that scholarship, which, you know, it couldn't be further from the truth. He needs to play high school football. You know, I've spoken to him. I said, Noah, you really need to enjoy your senior year. I mean, you know, Gillette Stadium, the games at Gillette Stadium, they're there because a lot of the Patriot players had talked about, being from New Jersey, how they always played their championship games at Giant Stadium. That's where Robert Kraft got the idea for these guys to play games at Gillette. So it wasn't these NFL players talking about their college days, it was these NFL players talking about their high school days. So you only get one run at this through high school. He should enjoy his senior year, no pressure, enjoy his teammates, watch his teammates grow with himself, and really not put pressure on anybody. And he's been great. I mean, he's humble to begin with, and the guys rally around him, and he's just out there playing football, having fun. I mean, that's just what I want him to do, and I hope everybody, and I think everybody's at ease with that, and, you know, no one's really giving him a hard time, and there really is no pressure on him.
No question about that. He'll have his opportunity to play on Saturdays in the future. As we look at the rest of this year, and we've seen him develop. He developed into that spread offense, that downfield passer you were looking at. Now with the changes that are being talked about and the way that you may change your game, how does that change his role? He becomes more of a ball distributor, more like a point guard maybe in basketball, than a man who's going to be looking to go down the field as often as he was.
Yeah, I mean, we're still obviously going to take advantage of things, but you know, we may be setting up the pass with the run. I mean, that's a crazy idea, but we're used to setting up the run with the pass. But you know, it's really going to evolve. I mean, our whole offense will evolve with how teams are playing us and the different teams that we play each and every week. So, you know, he just wants to play and win. I mean, he's not like I was when I was in high school. I wanted to throw every down. I mean, he literally just wants to win. I mean, every day I'm like, hey, no, I know, maybe we'll throw more. He's like, it's all good, coach. I just, you know, whatever. Let's get out and do this well and win. So, I mean, he's a better man than I was when I was in high school. So, you know, I give him a lot of credit. I mean, he's not in it for himself. He's in it for the team, and I think the team knows that. I mean, you can't fake that kind of stuff. So, you know, he's ready to go and just win the game. That's what this team is about, and that's why I've said what I've said about this team.
No question about that, and that family atmosphere we'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. I want to move our attention to the running back position. Angel Colino returns there. Anthony Dandini returning at fullback there potentially as well. And of course, some fresh faces that will mix into that group as well. Talk to me about the running back core. Obviously, they're going to be asked to shoulder a bigger load, whether it's taking it straight up the field or trying to spread it out wide.
Yeah, I mean, you have Anthony Dandini coming back. He came up as a freshman with us, and you know, it's self-explanatory. Those two St. John's games, he played out of his mind, and we're happy to have him. He's going to be a great player for us. The one I'm really excited for is Angel Colina. I mean, he blew out his knee again on Thanksgiving Day, his sophomore season. I don't know if people know that. And last year, he was literally probably 90% of what he's really at. And I think people are really going to get an opportunity to see, you know, what he's all about. And he's a great runner, and I'm excited for him. And, you know, seeing that every day, I think you'll understand why I feel the way I feel about this team and our strategy moving forward. I mean, we got two great backs, and Noah, Noah back there with a pretty big line in front of them. So, we'll see how it all pans out. But I'm definitely excited for those guys.
Receiver has certainly been something you've noted. It's a thin spot, but some names that are in the mix. Travis Storm certainly out there. Alan Link has certainly showed himself to have quite an aptitude to go down the field and catch the football. Anybody else going to be joining that core that we don't know?
Yeah. Dom Fusco was, he's battling a little injury right now, but Mike Keeles is in there, and Doug Marcelino and Gabe Elias, some of the sophomore crew. Really working hard out there, and Jack Young was quarterback, and he's moving in there trying to figure it out. But we got a lot of these guys that just we want them to block, and we want them to go in there and play and just catch the ball. We're not asking some of these guys to go downfield, but having Allen and Travis in there, because they played last year with a little bit of speed and some threat on the outside, really knowing what they're doing is definitely beneficial to us, no doubt.
Let's flip to the other side of the football for a minute. And I think what is kind of undervalued about the Blue Devils squads, because of course offense, it's the sexier side of football, let's face it. The other side, nobody wants to talk about the guys that are keeping the points off of the board. We try to do a good job here on this show of highlighting that point. And maybe quietly, it's been the identity of this team, the heart and soul, creating the opportunities for the offense to score points. Last season, that was certainly on display. Another opportunity this year with a lot of the names we've already talked about in that mix, plus a few more that are going to be on defense, trying to slow those other teams down. Yeah,
it's feast or famine with us. Last year we had great linebackers and great D-backs, and we had a young defensive line. And being young at defensive line is difficult.
Absolutely.
And, a lot of people, we filled people in there, and they were in and out. And a lot of the guys that were in and out last year, are returning this year. So that's huge for us up front, and our linebacking crew is back. We have Kalina and Storm and Travis, and Noah Gray, back in the backfield for us. So that's a benefit. We obviously lose the Jacksons, which is a huge hole for us. But, we should be pretty solid on defense. With a lot of great teams in our league, but, I'm pretty excited, with the level of experience we have on that side of the ball. We just got to, watch it all come together, because, we play so many different teams in our league. Shepherd Hill and Wachusett and St. John's. It's not an easy league for anybody to really face each other week in and week out, because there's so many different offenses. But, we'll see how it pans out. But I'm pretty excited for those guys. I think they have a lot of pride, and they're really, coming along into their own. I think it takes a little bit longer for defenses to come along, because they got to react to all the offenses, and they got to see things, more each and every day, each and every week, and you really can't do that, where offense can just rep out the plays that you're running. Defense has to react to the plays other teams are running.
That are coming back at them. And of course, the diversity in the different types of offenses. Some are very much pass-first offenses. Some are run-first offenses, like Shepherd Hill. The huge disparity there. Shepherd Hill wants to move quickly on the ground, moving the football up the field, whereas somebody like St. John's could go either way. They could move quickly and throw it through the air. They can move quickly and put it on the ground. You're right, that does make it awfully difficult for your defense.
Yeah, and I think that was huge last year when you have young guys on defensive line. You just got to gut it out. You got to be tough, and you got to engage the guy in front of you, know your assignments each and every week, study film and things like that. So, that's definitely to our benefit this year, having some guys with some experience. So I'm excited to see how it all pans out. I think it's anybody's game in this division. Shepherd Hill's great. Wachusett's going to be really good this year. Algonquin last year, the strides they made, they're going to be great. And of course, the St. John's and Shrewsbury, they're always right up there competing. So, it's going to be a battle just to stay on top and compete in this league. So it's going to be fun.
Let's talk about the third facet of a football team, and of course that's special teams, which is an opportunity for some players that maybe don't get a start in offense or defense to find a spot on the squad where they can be a consistent contributor. I know this is one of your favorite spots, because there's points in times where you absolutely know that a game hinges on getting a special teams break somewhere. You got some of those last year in big moments. Special teams going to be some changes, first on the kickoff squad and your place kicking squad. Got to replace a long tenured place kicker. I know some people showed an opportunity there. How's that going? Or are we finding a transition to a new place kicker?
Oh, great. Mike Foster, he's been at kicking camps all summer. He's really worked at it. His extra points, his field goals are really, really good. It's the best I've seen in a long time. He's a snap and center exchange has been good. So, you know, that's the beginning of it. You got to hike the ball, put it down, and kick it. So we're excited about that. And you know, our kickoff team, hopefully, you know, we have opportunities to kick off. I once joked with my dad. He was really upset with our kickoff team one year, and he said, these 5 or 6 times a game we kick off and they get the ball at the 40-yard line. I said, well, Dad, I get it, but we're kicking off 5 or 6 times, so we're scoring 6 touchdowns. So, you know, we will work on kicking off and getting that ball, trying to pin them down there. And, you know, all seriousness, we want to try to get it inside the 10, the 15, somewhere in there and kick it high. But, you know, I'd like to have the problem of really working on my kickoff team. I mean, that's a good problem to have. You know, if you're doing that, you know, 5 or 6 times a game, you're doing something right.
Can't say enough about the team first atmosphere that you guys have had this year. Talk to me about that, the team first, you know, kind of organization, the chemistry. You've certainly felt it, and this early in the season to find chemistry coming out of camp is huge, creating momentum.
Yeah, I think just these guys, these captains, these leaders. I mean, our captains, Matt Price, Angel Kalina, Noah Gray, and Anthony Dandini, they're all 3.0 students and above. They get it. They're great community people. They're great leaders. They're respectful. All the things I want in a program, and they are really leaders. I mean, these other seniors, same deal. They want to be winners. They want to do the right thing. For the first time, you know, in a long time, I met with the seniors before the season, and you know, I had a long talk with them about what really they want this season to be, how they want it to go. You know, the 12 weeks that we spend together. So, you know, we had a heart-to-heart, and they've really come through with doing a lot of the things that I think are necessary to win those close games. I mean, those close games are the deciding factor is who has the most heart together and believes that it's going to happen. And that, you know, I use the example in the show. I mean, they won 3 games last year in the last play of the game. And how does that happen? That happens by believing it's going to happen. So, you know, we'll see how it works out, but I have all the confidence in the world in that aspect of the game. And for me, that's really where it begins.
We've got to begin with the foundation and turn our attention to week 1 of action. Leominster and Doherty coming up down at Foley Stadium on Friday night. Coach, let's talk about this Doherty team. And of course, I know week 1 is a lot more about you than it is about them. It's a lot more about getting your team out onto the field prepared to play, and then you'll worry about the game plan when you get there. As you look at this Doherty squad, you've had some great battles with Coach Mulcahy and the Highlanders over the years. Certainly there are some things you know about them. They're always going to be fast. They're going to be big. They're going to look to go down the field.
Of course. I mean, that first week, that first game, anything can happen. I mean, you're just still trying to figure it out, and you really haven't done it for real. So, you know, he's such a great coach. He always has that speed. He always has that physicality on defense. And I know we talked earlier. His defense is always flying around. It gives us a lot of problems, so we're going to have to figure it out quick and just play hard-nosed football.
And certainly a squad that's going to want to move the ball down the field, as we talked about. Their strength, you know, in having multiple quarterbacks this year. They're not certain quite where they're going to go from all reports. They could have a pocket passer. They could have more of a run-first quarterback. How difficult does that make it for your defense in this week 1?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to play football. I mean, we're huge on you know, not worrying about all the things going on and just kind of do what is expected of you and not get caught up in all that. So I think we'll just play football.
And it's Leominster and Doherty coming up with week 1 action at Foley Stadium. Countdown to kickoff is on the K-Zone at 6:30 on Friday night, with kickoff to follow at 7. Looking forward to that one. Leominster TV along for replays throughout the week and weekend. Blue Devils and Highlanders from Foley Stadium. We want you to be there. We want you to be with us each and every week here on the Coach's Corner on Leominster TV. For Leominster High School head coach Dave Palazzi, I am Todd Robbins. Until next week, so long, everybody.